Today we will discuss the economics of reclamation. For so long we have been discussing how in urban studies the economics of FSI, that is increased amount of building for utilizing more space on smaller and smaller amounts of land, encourage urban density. But has urban density really been a problem which is very recent? No. The fact is, urban density has been a problem which has plagued all sorts of urban areas for the past maybe 3 or 4 centuries. Because people flock towards cities. People flock towards cities for economic opportunity, they primarily for economic opportunity, and then later on for the availability of multiple sources or diversity of choice or variety in terms of buying and selling, being able to trade with multiple choices and availabilities of people who buy and sell to us. So market opportunities are more in cities because there are more and more people locked in or living in cities. So cities provide an environment where people move in to gain from the trade advantage that cities give you. Other than that, of course, cities also give you the ability to live an anonymous life. You live in cities, it is quite possible to live in anonymity. At the same time, you are part of a crowd. So it's not like you don't lose the security of being in a crowd. You have that sense of security. Plus, everybody in the crowd is anonymous. So you live in relative anonymity while also having the feeling or the sense of security that being in a crowd provides. So these are all the inherent advantages of cities, and because of which people have been flocking to cities. Now, cities, because of people flocking in and population increasing, have always been under pressure for more and more land to be made available for urban utility or urban space. And that is the reason why many times you see governments of cities getting involved in reclaiming or creating new opportunities for land, for getting more land and harnessing more land to come in so that we are able to create more economic opportunities out of lesser land with more population density. Now, why don't we build new cities? It's a very logical and a simple corollary. Like anybody would say, okay, you have so much biocapacity within a given space. Why don't we build more cities? We don't build more cities because, like I explained before in some of the lectures, people like to create scarcity. So you cannot give everything to everybody. I cannot give a 4 BHK house in Delhi to everybody, to all the entire population of India. I cannot give a 4 BHK house in Mumbai or a 2 BHK house in Mumbai to the entire population of India. So what that means is the more scarcity I create for the available land or the available resources there are in Mumbai or in Delhi, the demand for that correspondingly goes up, prices accordingly go up, and a lot of people who have vested interests in allowing this sort of a system, a skewed system to function, these people tend to make a windfall profit or they tend to gain from the haphazard growth or the unplanned growth or the bad FSI regulations that govern our cities. And now, for to posit the argument on the other side, let us look at how this is done. So this is primarily done by reclaiming the land that is available, which is fallow or which is under river or which is under water bodies or which can be reclaimed easily and harnessed or put back to use for urban development. So we will study the examples of 3 or 4 cities because we don't have a lot of time. But primarily we will study the example of a very large city in India. It's called Mumbai. So in Mumbai, what happened is Mumbai came into the hands of King Charles, um, and he got it when he got married to Catherine Braganza, the Portuguese princess. And in 1661, when they got married, this is what the islands of Mumbai used to look like. So these portions that you see, these are actually empty ocean or empty sea. These portions that you see, all this is empty sea. So here you can see the scale is 6,000 feet to an inch. This is all empty sea. So what they decided is that since you have all these portions available, you want to capitalize on this. The best way to capitalize on this would be to reclaim it. And thus began the series of endless reclamation projects in Mumbai. So this was what Mumbai used to look like in 1843. This is Vadala, for instance. This is Girgaon over here, right here. And this used to be, this is how the Girgaon Chowpatty was supposed to be. But if you look at Mumbai today, this is how Mumbai has become. And this is Girgaon Chowpatty. Can you imagine? And this specific drive that you see, Marine Drive, this was completely reclaimed from the sea. All this area has been reclaimed from the sea. All of this area that you see, which is in between, which are kind of filler areas, they are all reclaimed from the sea. Do you know how this was done? This was done by breaking down all the hills of Mumbai, taking the debris, the rock, the stone out of all the hills of Mumbai, and continuously filling the land, the shallow seabed to build, to create this. And this did not stop at Mumbai alone. It went further into Navi Mumbai. So all the creeks, all the streams, all the natural outlets of water that used to exist, all the wetlands, all the mangroves, everything have been filled upon and reclaimed, and thus this city was built. Now you might ask, how much damage has been done? What is the extent of damage? Let's say the size of Mumbai is 438 square kilometers. The amount of land which has been reclaimed, to your surprise, is close to 385 square kilometers. Which means that almost two-thirds or maybe more of the land of Mumbai is reclaimed land. Now, what that also means is that all of this, all of this land that you have seen which is reclaimed, it is barely between -5 to positive 15 meters above sea level. Where there used to be a small hillock or some such thing, or where there was a larger hill also that has been raised to the ground, the soil taken out of that and dumped into the sea, and thus it is either negative or below sea level, or slightly positive or slightly above sea level. That is how the story of Mumbai is. Because of which, what happens is, whenever there is rain, whenever there is a lot of rainfall which happens at the same time, all that rainfall succeeds in collecting in all these places where the land is below sea level. And then it takes a long time for all that rainfall, the accumulated rainfall, to drain out into the sea. Because it has to wait up till the high tide goes out, and then the rainfall will drain out into the sea. That is the situation here. So, did it make sense to do this? Like, if you look at it in the correct perspective over such a long enough term, it certainly didn't make sense. Why do I say so? I say so because it is very difficult to manage too many people in too less an area at Mumbai. So these many people will generate that many problems in a multiple. They will generate that much more sewage, which will flow into the sea. They will generate that much more garbage, which you don't know what to do with, so you will dump it in one of these lands nearabouts. The one thing that is keeping Mumbai alive, for instance, is this Sanjay Gandhi National Park. It is 87 to 90 square kilometers. It is almost a fourth of the size of the reclaimed land in and around Mumbai. The other thing that's keeping Mumbai alive somehow is the Mumbai Port Trust, which is again a place which has not been damaged that badly or as badly as much as Mumbai has been. But they have poured so much concrete into Mumbai And Mumbai today has become a heat island. Mumbai temperatures are going out of whack. Mumbai air pollution is out of control. And the amount of garbage that Mumbai produces, you cannot process. It's close to 10,000 metric tons a day. Some say 7,000, some say 8,000. But the fact is, if you're producing some fantastic sum of garbage which is like that, it is very difficult to think about solutions which will take it, compost it, make it work, and all of that. Now, if you are looking at solving only one problem in Mumbai, let's say you want to solve air pollution in Mumbai, everything is related because methane release out of sewage, open burning of municipal solid waste, all of these contribute to air pollution. Each and every construction site contributes to dust, which again contributes to PM 2.5 and PM 10 air pollution in Mumbai. If you think that something else is happening in Delhi or something else is happening in Bangalore or something else is happening in Pune, you are mistaken. Everywhere, due to urban pressure on urban areas, the first mode or the first method by which more and more land can be freely brought in and harnessed to the service of a city is by reclamation. So, if I were to take another example, because you see, Mumbai is evidence enough for all of you to see. But if I were to take one more example, let us say I take the example of Bangalore. And in Bangalore, what happened is they had close to 2,000 leaks. And Bangalore, the shape of Bangalore is somewhat like this. So it's somewhat like this. That's the shape, that's the topography of Bangalore. So when water falls, when rain falls, it collects in all these lakes and reservoirs, which are part of the Bangalore landscape, in a manner of speaking. And all these lakes and water bodies and reservoirs are more or less interconnected to each other. All of them. Bangalore is like, it's like as if it's on a ridge, and this is a cross sectional view of the ridge, and you also have a cross sectional view of the lakes on the ridge. But for what use are lakes? So they started dumping debris into lakes and taking entire lake areas, and after dumping debris into it, reclaimed all the land and made what the biggest uh, debris dumped lake in Bangalore is the Majestic bus stop, or what you know as the Majestic Intermodal Transport Terminal. It's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of acres of lake land and water bodies have been dumped upon with debris, with construction material, with all of this, and reclaimed. And all that reclaimed land has today got construction on it. All this reclaimed land has got buildings and construction on it. Now, what happens is when you dump so much debris and you reclaim all the wetlands, over a period of time, you will have a circumstance where due to rainfall or due to water flow, water will have to find its way. And like it is in Mumbai, where for a few days in every year, the city comes to an absolute standstill. The train stops, everything stops because it's just raining so much. You don't have a choice but to wait for the water to flow out. And after the water flows out, life can somehow start creeping back to normalcy. Bangalore, similar events have started happening. The first thing that started happening is they have begun running out of groundwater because these lakes don't exist anymore. So there is no system by which the groundwater table can get recharged again. So if there will be no groundwater over a period of time, Bangalore will run out of water. It is estimated that in the next 4-5 years or 10 years perhaps, Bangalore will have no groundwater at all because you've dumped debris on all the lakes and you blocked off the methods by which the aquifers used to recharge. That's all. Now you have these buildings, okay, and the buildings used to be where once upon a time there were lakes. So when the rain falls, what starts to happen is these buildings start to get submerged because the water will go back to find its own level to the places where the water used to accumulate before. So these buildings have started to get submerged, and that is the reason why last monsoon we saw sites of where people were taking boats and were trying to get out of their buildings, out of their row houses, and somehow get out and go out and figure out a way by which they were able to rescue themselves. Beautiful apartment complexes with very expensive cars and expensive neighborhoods and all of that, and you have this kind of phenomena happening. Again, all this is happening because they did not allow for new cities to develop. And until you don't allow for new cities to develop, until you don't learn how to live within biocapacities, it will be very difficult for any new city also to take the load off these existing cities. So these existing cities now have created problems for themselves. Similarly, in Bangalore also, with all the garbage and the air pollution and all these things that you all are producing, there is no place to take it. You have to take it somewhere elsewhere and dump it. So you are just creating a transfer problem. You are taking a problem from point A and dumping it on point B and expecting that there will be solutions, but there is none. If you think the misery is over, well, it's not, because if you look at Pune, for instance, Pune, what are they doing? Pune, they have the two rivers, so becoming one. This is the Mula Mutha. This is the Mutha originating out of Khadagwasla. This is the Mula originating out of Mulchi. The Pauna comes and joins in here at Bopodi. This is Shivaji Nagar, where all three become a confluence, and then they flow out as the Mula. So in Pune, what they are doing is they are dumping debris onto the riverbanks. And by dumping debris onto these riverbanks, what will they do? They will reclaim close to 1585, some say 1545 acres of land along the riverbed. What will this create? This will create the same circumstance that they are experiencing today in Mumbai and they are experiencing in Bangalore. Because if you have a particular flood line and the flood line has, let us say this is the river bank, this is the cross section of the river bank, and this is your 25-year flood line, and maybe this is your 100-year flood line. So normally this is marked in red. And this is marked in blue. And this flood line is generally what is reached in 25 years. But let's assume that you have decided you want to raise the height of this embankment over here, and you want to dump debris over here and create a cavity of a channel to carry the river while disrespecting these flood lines. And you're experimenting with this and experimenting and saying that this vertical increase will be enough to channelize the amount of dumping that you have done over here, which is close to 2.6 crore tons of cement and close to 6 crore tons of debris. Now imagine 6 crore plus 2.6 crore, about 10 crore tons of water is going to get displaced because of all the dumping that you have done over here. And these embankments or riverside developments are going to be safe against the proposition of flash floods or against the proposition of nature coming in to flood wherever it is that you have reclaimed this land. You think it's a funny thing that you're really doing. It has proven time and time and time again that this does not work. It's proven itself in Mumbai, proven itself in Bangalore, and instead of planning and designing and doing new cities, we have 750 districts. Instead of setting up basic infrastructure in all these 750 districts, coming up with harebrained schemes like this, because you will get increase in your profit margins, increase in FSI, increase in so many things, increase in basically the money that goes around the political, bureaucratic, land mafia, construction nexus in a manner of speaking. For gaining from that, if you do these kind of things, you're actually playing the fool with nature. So what are the solutions? The solutions are very simple. Solutions are first, you don't do these kind of haphazard crazy schemes. First of all. Second of all, you have 750 districts. You look at putting in basic infrastructure in 750 districts. What is basic infrastructure? Electricity, water, healthcare, 1,000 bed hospice of palliative care, education, a good primary and secondary and tertiary or higher education center, along with research. You look at healthcare, education, water, electricity, roads, and of course, along with roads, you put in an airport so that you have connectivity with an air ambulance or with short haul flights to whichever other capital destinations that there are. Then you earmark saying that this is how much water you can harvest, this is how much healthcare you can provide, this is how much education you can really give. You're doing a good job of whatever resources you have, and this is how much roads or airport you will need for it to become a sustainable project. And when you do that, and when you earmark resources accordingly, it doesn't cost much. All of this across 750 districts won't even cost 1 lakh crores. And if you think 1 lakh crores is a big number, allow me to inform you that 40 lakh crores is the union government budget. The Delhi city or whatever Delhi state budget is 67,000 crores. Mumbai budget is 52,000 crores. Pune budget is 10,000 crores. Bangalore budget is 12 to 14,000 crores. They said they'll do 17,000 crores this year. Pimpri Chinchwad, which is the twin city of Pune, is another 7,000 crores. The total between Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad and Bangalore is more or less same. These are serious numbers. This is how big the budgets really are. And for providing each and every district with all these factors, it doesn't even cost 1 lakh crores. It is nothing. If you divide it across 30 states and 750 districts, it's actually nothing. So if you do 1,000-bed healthcare, 1,000-student university, uh, maybe a airport which can ferry 100 people in and out every day, out of continuous flights to the city centers or whatever, and you have enough water to harvesting enough water for 10 lakh people, you put in enough electricity via geothermal for you to do 100,000 households, and you do all this slowly. You don't have to do it like immediately. You do it stage wise, bit by bit. You build new port infrastructure, so you don't have to depend only on Mumbai port alone. In fact, the fact is we don't have a single deep water port, not one. The only deep water port which was going to come up was in Kerala, which the Adani group were going to build in Vizhinjam. But even that is not happening because people are protesting against it. So today, what really is happening is that we are using the Sri Lanka port, and the Sri Lanka deep water port is being used for servicing India's import and export needs over a single deep water port that India has. So we desperately need deep water ports. We desperately need all this basic infrastructure in 750 districts. We desperately need the ninth schedule, which allows governments eminent domain over land. We need that to go. We need states to be given the freedom to make their own land laws and allow for new city development to take place, especially at the district level. You need to let that happen first at the district level and later perhaps at the tehsil or the taluka level. Similarly, that first amendment, the ninth schedule, and laws which allow eminent domain of the state over land acquisition, land sealing laws, things like that, they need to go. That is how you will be able to urbanize all of India. And urbanize in a sustainable way, not urbanize in a way in which you just go haphazardly reclaiming land everywhere and try to think that that's going to fix the problem. It's not going to fix the problem. It is going to increase the problem. It will compound the problems. More urbanization, more density, in lesser and lesser space will compound the problem. And that is what we are experiencing. That is what has been evidenced. So don't come at me with studies of places out of this place, the Western world or so much. And if you really want to compare studies from the Western world and understand how the Western world has solved their problems, understand very specifically. India has room for 1,000 Copenhagens. That is what India has room for. India has room for 1000 Copenhagen's. India has no room, zero room for any Dubais or Singapores. That is not the model of development we should be following. We should be following the model of building Copenhagen. So if you want to go and see the model of Copenhagen, please go and see it. Copenhagen is on its way to become the first carbon neutral city in the world. They placed a target for becoming carbon neutral by 2025. They might become 70% carbon neutral by 2025, or might do carbon neutrality by 2030. But this is what India has room for, not this. On this note, thank you very much. I hope I have been able to explain the economics of reclamation to you today.